Add to the stream. It's showing you what ain't on here.
Scroll to the pictures. I'll go up. I'll click that off.
Well, there we go. Yeah, ma. What's goody to the guys and the goddesses, and what's popping to the people? You know, like we always do about this time. It's definitely gonna be interesting this evening and things. Okay, first and foremost, I see y'all going crazy over this Dahmer thing, and well, it's a bit of an issue. Like Dahmer, that's what America going off for right now, huh? That's what's got our attention, and we always we don't well never peep the play. We paying everything but attention. Uh, Hold on, I'm tapping into everybody. I'm tapping into everybody. Okay? So now, why is it? It just seems a very convenient time to want to show a homosexual man killing black homosexuals, killing young black homosexuals, and that's the number one thing we got going on right now, and this is what we doing. Hold on, you got the African American under the age of 25, black male, is the number one homosexual in America. And so we gonna come out and rekindle this old guy who used to murder young black men in that age bracket. And we don't care about about the families, none of that, huh? The families all over social media protesting. We don't care about none of that. We just and this is this guy is mutilating bodies, killing the young men, and then having sex with the dead bodies and the corpses. And I mean, like, we talking about necrophilia, necromancy. We talking about, I mean, you can't get, I mean, unless we talking bestiality, it don't get too much worse than this. Just where we at, though, huh? And this is some sick, super duper twisted shit too. Like, this dude was having body parts in the freezers and all this type of shit. Like, how you and he went on a run like that, huh? Stayed in all black community, and he just went on a run undetected. They catching the little kids and getting them back to do it, huh? Man, do we ever pay attention to anything? Y'all think this man was just able to circulate and navigate throughout our community, kidnapping and mutilating our young men, and nobody knew who this was? And now they made a special about it and brought that energy back and making the parents and the victims relive it. For what purpose? What purpose? What logical purpose could this movie possibly serve? To take a guy who went on a killing spree of young Black American and ethnic homosexuals, mutilating their bodies and having sex with their corpses. What purpose could it possibly serve to do a Netflix special on this guy? Something so recent when almost all of the victims' parents are still around. Why would you do this? Nobody asked the parents permission to tell their story. No, nobody even contacted the parents. You're just gonna tell this brutal, horrific story, and we still not gonna be honest about it because I still want to know how they get in our community, how they survived so long undetected, how young men were escaping and police officers were returning bloody, naked young men back to the person who assaulted them. Like, how is this happening? And don't nobody know nothing. See, this is the part we're not dealing with. We're dealing with the part, Jeffrey Dahmer was a wait. How did he get away with these things for so long and nobody know nothing? That's the part you're not dealing with. How does a little naked, bloody young man get away from him? The police officers give the little boy back to him, and then later that night he kills the little boy. How does this happen? These are things nobody want to talk about that part. We don't want to talk about the part where it's weird how he got away with it so long. That's the part I'm interested in. And why are we even bringing it back up? Whose purpose does it serve? And for that matter, to live in a society where we glorify serial killers is, at best, I could call it weird. Or I could use a better phrase like absolutely disgusting. Like, in what world, obviously this one, what reality is it that tells us, hey, I'm going to make movies about murderous psychopaths and see how the world feel about it? And of course, excuse me, y'all, I'm making the adjustments. And of course, in the world we live in, these people got fan clubs. These serial killers, wackos, sociopaths, they got fan clubs. They got t-shirts. Charles Manson is more popular than you could imagine, alive and dead. How? And then, we could easily talk about the society that participates in it, but whose decision is it that you could even do this? That you could take senseless murder and glorify it. Oh, wait a minute. That's everything we watch on TV. Oh, wait a minute. That's all the music we listen to. See, if we got to pay attention. If we look over here and we say, it's disgusting watching Jeffrey Dahmer and this whole Netflix thing, it's exploiting the parents, it's degrading, and it's sick. I agree. But what's the difference if we hear it in music form? Because what we see Jeffrey Dahmer portraying on screen, we hear that in our music. So you could take Lil Nas X and Young Thug and put it together. That's damn near a Jeffrey Dahmer album, give or take a few things. But we don't look at it that way because we're entertained by this, and we can overlook all the science that goes into the fact that they're attacking your subliminals. We could ignore all of that and just say, hey, it's just entertainment. Well, so is this Netflix special that shows this psychopath mutilating and eating black young men. That's just entertainment too. Or is it? This is a fine line. And then this is where it gets extremely weird. You got decades and decades of the media feeding us what we should think. And we don't look at it that way because of 3 words. It's just entertainment. Soon as we hear that, our defenses get lowered. And then we subjugate ourselves and our children to all types of things. Partially because we don't know. And then partially because we don't want to know. Anything that contradicts our current state of how we think, we all got to take pride in our parenting. So anything that contradicts the fact that we've been a good parent, our defenses come up like, hey, wait a minute. I did the best I could. Well, that's not always the topic at hand. The topic is doing the best we can. Does that sometimes entail making decisions that maybe we should not have made? And that's the space we got to learn to live in, because we all have been there and will probably be back. Where we have allowed media to dictate every single thing we've become. That's where it's a scary space at. We don't look at it that way. But if you sit back and if you're honest with yourself and you look at your wardrobe, you could not have developed your fashion sense without seeing it somewhere. And even if you didn't see it on television, you saw it on someone else who saw it on television. There is no other option. How else do you? No one wants to come outside wearing something from 3 generations behind. And even if you don't care, people looking at you like, hey, that scene from I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, when he get out of after being in 10 years and he got the goldfish in the bottom of his shoes, and it's like, no, we don't do that anymore. Nobody wants to walk outside like that. So we keep up. Now, for those of us who are like, we don't like to keep up with the Joneses in that fashion, then we'll take our own spin on it and kind of stay modern, but do our own thing. It's still the same thing. Everything we understand comes from the tail lie vision. The music you listen to, how'd you know about those musicians? More than likely, you've seen a video or someone else let you listen. And now, once you hear it, maybe a song in someone's car, you say, hey, who is that? Then you go look that artist up. Now you're looking the artist up. You're looking through all this stuff on YouTube or whatever. Now you become a fan. These are just visuals. And then we see this artist and we look at these videos and then we immediately identify certain things resonate with us. And then we say, well, I like so-and-so. I feel like he or she is this certain kind of person that I could be okay with. Now, we reached this conclusion off of choreographed videos. It's the way it is, but it's ridiculous when you think about it. So now, you would take your favorite artist. And all of us, if we into music, you had that moment, especially in the YouTube era, where you can just go through your favorite artist catalog, just look at video after video after video. And after watching so many videos, your mind formulates an opinion about what type of person you believe that this person is because of their visuals and because of the lyrics. Now, after you make that assessment, because of these visuals and because of these lyrics, this person is this type of person and I'm okay with them. I really like them. Once you make that assessment and it resonates with you, you then will argue with other people over the type of person who this complete stranger is. And you'll be sitting there and full-blown get mad at a friend or a family member because they disagree with your stance on how you think this person is who's a complete stranger to you. If you follow what I'm saying, this is the media doing its job, actually. Remember, we started out with the tell, lie, vision. Now, it's the tell, lie, vision programming. You're being programmed. So it's the tell a lie to your vision programming. Well, we know what it is to program something. It's to sink everything in and get it the way you want it, so that whatever this is that's being programmed, after you program it, there's two parts to programming. It's the programmer doing something to program. Then after that, you have the results. In order for this to be effective, it has to make you think or behave a certain way. So it's tell, lie to your vision to get you to behave a certain way. That's what you watch when when you want to get interested in something. You watch the tell, lie to your vision so that you can be programmed to behave a certain way. Now, which way are you being programmed to behave? Depends on what you prefer to watch. So now we cater this programming to our personality, and we debate that. We say, well, I only watch these type of programming because this type of programming is the real deal. And if you watch that type of programming, then you weird. Like, why would you watch that? And now we can debate that. We can literally fight over if what I choose to watch, which is all fantasy, is more efficient than what you choose to watch, which is all fantasy. Because we're both watching the tell, lie to your vision and program you. Now, there's a reoccurring theme in a lot of these movies. And this is why I wish y'all would come on YouTube, because you can get the visuals. I got a lot of slides that I can't put them here on Facebook. That's why I be saying come to YouTube. But you got to understand what media really is. When I say media, now that's another thing, you'll instantly think of the television. But what about a picture? A picture is media. Because before you had the television, you had painters. And the way a lot of these painters used to convey a message or hide a message was within the painting. Excuse me. We all know about the Da Vinci stuff where there was supposed to be this hidden within the painting. You know, Da Vinci was famous for having messages within messages in his paintings. And a lot of artists are famous for doing that. Even rappers have a double entendre where they say one thing, but they mean something different. You know, art is about the seen and the unseen. Now, I had this picture right here. That this is Good Times. One of the old episodes of Good Times. And you got Florida Evans, which is the mother, and then you got Michael, which was the young son. Now, if y'all remember, Michael was a little bit of a revolutionary, and he got mad at Florida. He asked her, "What's up with the white Jesus on the wall?" And she was offended, and he kind of got in trouble for it. And you know, they have a teachable moment and all of that. But what I'm saying is, imagine, and you probably can, growing up in the heart of one of the poorest ghettos in America. I'm talking about so poor, like the broke side of you is broke. I mean, like poor. Y'all know how poor the Evans family was. They were super poor. And you don't see anything but black folks every single day in a cesspool of oppression, clawing their way out. On the outside of this, white people stand there for the sake of adding to the oppression, not to help. This is what you see visually, not whether it's a reality or not. This is your reality because it's what you see every day. And being forced to pray to a God that looks nothing like you. Because if you're paying attention, you can make some simple deductions. This is not a religious discussion. This is a thinking moment. If I am in one of the poorest ghettos in America, and I have a mother that's raising 3 children, I'm the youngest of the 3. So obviously, that mother has been praying to this same white Jesus ever since before us. Yet we still ended up in our current situation. So it's 2 things that I could deduct from a logical standpoint. Either that Jesus ain't rocking with us, or we're not worthy. You can only draw 2 conclusions. Either that Jesus is not for us, or we're not worthy of that Jesus. Now, for most Black Americans, we reach the deduction that we're not worthy or we're doing something wrong. So now, in courtroom, we have something called a burden of proof, meaning it's up to me to prove my case. So if I come into the world ignorant and blind, whatever this is that wants me to understand it has to manifest itself in a way so that it's clear to me. If not, I don't get the message in my ignorance. I am a creation of that which is angry with me. So then, is there ever a moment where we question the creator? If I build you a car and it doesn't work effectively, you're not going to tell me the reason why the car don't work is because I don't have faith. Either you can build me a car or you can't. This is what you have to understand is what media presents. This is what media brings to the table. We're not saying that this is or isn't a thing. What we're saying is there has to be a clear-cut comprehension. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because we're dealing with media. This picture represents media. So someone created this ideology of a savior that doesn't look like the people it's supposed to be saving. Now, if we debate whether this character exists or not, that's not the discussion. The discussion is, how do you find pride in your race when you are told that your race has not been accepted by God? And so before you, amongst your oppression, the only image of God you have looks exactly like the man who is feeding your children to crocodiles. How do you differentiate? Now, the point is the picture is media. In our mind, the picture is reality because it's all we've been told. But what's the reality? The picture is merely media. It's created by someone to push a certain thought process. What thought process is that? The thought process of the artist. See, the painting, any picture that you see of God or Jesus didn't personally paint it. So what you're looking at, we're not questioning whether it exists or doesn't exist, right or wrong. That's not the topic. The topic is, if an artist paints a picture, the only thing that artist can possibly give me is its interpretation of that which it paints. So any portrait of Jesus we're taking it as this is a holy portrait. This is the artist's perception of what they thought about Jesus. No more, no less. Media. But look how controlling that is. Now, I did something, and I have to share this because this is one of the most profound things I've discovered. The most widely used religious book on the planet is the King James Bible. Now, frequently, people will say, well, if you really want to get your information, don't get it from the King James. I study this source over here, and I study this source over here, and I study these deeper Bibles over here. And that's fine. But the biggest the number one religious book on the planet is the King James Bible. So why are we talking about all this other documentation that most people will never see? Let's deal with what's in front of us. The King James Bible. Now, the reason why we're dealing with this, because let's look at the title. Mass Media Misconception and the Age of Deity Deception. That's what we're dealing with. Mass media. We don't realize it, but the Bible is media. We take it out of context and we say, oh, it came from God. This is a holy book. Okay, I'm not here to dispute that. I'm here to tell you that in 1611, the Gutenberg printing press mass printed the King James Bible. I'll say this again. In 1611, the Gutenberg printing press mass printed the King James Bible. Now, that's the first media of this era. Before that, there were no printed books anywhere on the planet, just so we're clear. Before the Gutenberg printing press, you had scrolls and files. You didn't have a book. Gutenberg was the first people to put a book together. Okay, so now, who's Gutenberg? These are Germans. Tomato, tomato. Now, what happens with this Bible once it's printed? This Bible goes to America. This Bible floods America. Well, one could say, if you're a religious person, you'll say it was God's divine order that pushed this book throughout America. You could say that. But then you could also say 8 years later, the country was flooded with slaves. So one could say they knew that the slaves were on the way and they were preparing. One could say that because education was outlawed amongst slaves until they were allowed to read the Bible. So the first education that the slaves ever got in America was the King James Bible. Now, we're not here to say whether that's good, bad, yay or nay. We're just going to deal with the facts and follow the yellow brick road. So the first information we got was the King James Bible. That's the first thing the slaves was taught. And there was actually a slave version of that, much thinner, much more to the point. But we're going to deal with the King James Bible. Now, what makes this so special? What makes this such a big deal? Why is the King James Bible here? See, more things we need to know. America is being colonized by King James. So Europe controls America. King James is the king. Now, this is important. Why? Because before he became king was the first, Queen Elizabeth, who just passed, the first Queen Elizabeth. That was the cousin of King James, the guy who wrote the Bible. Now, that Queen Elizabeth I had slaves. Matter of fact, y'all be so quick to brag about John Hawkins. Okay, well, John Hawkins is named after the notorious slave trapper and catcher. And after he did 3 successful trips and rounded up so many slaves, she came back and gave him a gold crest, the Medal of Honor, with a slave attached to it. This is a medal they gave him. A carved out slave with a crest on it that said, "Thank you for catching so many Africans for us." So I said that to say this. Now, granted, King James inherited the throne at the age of 1. Okay. But he kept the throne till he was 59. So he inherited a throne that was full of slaves. He didn't end slavery and give them back. And you know why he didn't give them back? Because before he had anything to do with this Bible, he wrote a book called Demonology. Now, everybody talk about that book, but they don't say what the book was about. So I decided to find out. It's about vampires, werewolves, and witches. And sorcerers, too. Now, why did he write that book? Now, I told y'all before, I'm going to tell you again. When they say witches, they mean black women. The entire character of the witch was created to disrespect the black woman. That's why they made her ugly and haggard and all warts on her face. And the reason why they did that is to disrespect the black woman. What is a witch? She is a woman who mixes up potions, and they can be dangerous if she wants them to. Okay, well, the black woman created that practice. So who they calling a witch? You, Queen. Now, that's because slavery, not what they told you. It wasn't that we didn't just lay down. It was 100-year war in America for them to get us into a point, and this is prisoners of war. I just use this word slavery because people understand it. Really, we're POWs, prisoners of war. That's what we are. Now, they understand. You put up a hell of a fight. Look up the Gullah Wars. For 100 years, you fought these people. The only reason why they won is because the other Native Americans turned on you and helped and became slave catchers. That's how you got caught. Before that, you was whooping their ass. Yes, this is the point. See, when we don't know our history, we doomed to repeat it and become victims of it. So the whole thing is, the way they got this Bible to you was after they whooped you down and hunted down your women. They had to hunt the women down because America was ours first. They don't not from here. They don't know the place. That's why the war landed. That's why the war lasted 100 years. And so now, when you look at it from that perspective, then you understand. You are spiritual people that have been told to find God in a book. You found God in the dirt. Now you have to find it within the pages of a book of a language that was not for you. Now, the reason why you resonate so well with it and why you're convinced that it's yours is because Africans wrote it. The originals, way before they tampered with it. The very first Bibles, y'all quickly point out, the first Bibles came from Ethiopia. Yes, they did. And it was under the duress of a Greek and Roman sword. But it happened. Okay, it happened. But you have to understand your history, brothers and sisters. This is why they're able to pull certain flim-flams on you. So when you got a publishing company that's German and is under the rule of the King of England, and America is under the rule of the King of England. First, they put out the demonology book to catch all the women. Why? Because they have to catch the queens, outlaw what you call voodoo, make it look bad, and then steal it. This is where you get your medical field from. Think about the shit they used to do. Watch the old movies, how they used to heal and shit. Like, I'm watching Game of Thrones. The king is literally decaying right in front of them, and nobody don't know what to do about it. They got the dumbest ideas. I mean, like these doctors are idiots. So, with that being said, they had to kidnap our women and create the medical field. They had to abduct our men and shackle up and separate the families. Once they did that, you separate the families, you cut off the language. There's a language barrier now. We don't speak the same language. This is why y'all wrong when y'all say none of us came from Africa. All of us was already here. If all of us was already here, they would not have been able to split us up and separate us from communicating. Think, brethren. Stop hearing everything you hear. Stop believing everything you hear on YouTube. Like we was already here. We didn't come from Africa. Who told you that? Why you believe that? Where the slave ships, we can't find them. You can't find the fucking Titanic either, but you believe it happened. I mean, let's just stop with the nonsense. Of course, slaves came from Africa. Why wouldn't they? The most black people on the planet is there. We got slaves. Why wouldn't we bring them here? That don't make sense. Y'all just say shit because you heard it and you want an argument point. Of course, slaves came here. They took them everywhere on the planet. Why not? Slavery is popping. And Africa is the number one place they getting them. And they didn't bring none to the newest place they colonizing. That sounds weird. Of course they did. And this is how they were able to split y'all up. Because if you have people who are native from America mixed in with people who are native from all these different tribes in Africa, and you mix them in, now there's a language barrier. We don't know what the fuck each other talking about. But if everybody was already from this country, you got languages are made up. You think because you from another tribe, y'all can't communicate? We from the same land. We know how to talk to each other. It's when you from a completely different country where everything is different, that's when your communication is off. So once they were able to do that, now there's no one to pass on a belief system. Beliefs, traditions are orally passed down. Do you have no one to orally pass down traditions to when you have nobody you know? So you start over on the plantation with total strangers. And what's the only thing y'all gonna have in common? The new communication and the new information. So now y'all got to find a way to hide y'all thought process within the realms of the Bible, but it's still their thing. You got no other thing. So they mass produced the Bible to get it all over the country. Now, once you have that, look who brought it to you. You're looking at somebody who has been in power since he's one. At the age of 13, he fell in love with his 37-year-old uncle. Now, he begins showering his uncle with gifts and makes him the Duke. So in order for you to fall in love with your uncle and for y'all to turn into having a relationship, that thing had to be something that was kind of going on at the time. Why would he even think that he had a chance with his 37-year-old uncle unless that was going on a lot at the time? And so he had a full-blown relationship with his uncle. He had a 10-year relationship with his cousin. That is the one who he made Lord Buckingham from Buckingham Palace. You know where the royal family stays right now? Yes, the royal family are descendants of King James from the Bible. Yeah, the royal family, the one y'all been complaining about for the last 2 weeks about how they stole all this African jewelry and all the African artifacts, and they wrote, yes, okay, well, they stole them under the same bloodline as King James because it's the same family and it's the same thing he was doing. This is what kings do. They plunder and pillage, rob, rape, and enslave people. You have to understand who you're getting this information from. So first the guy writes a book, media, puts it all over the country. Now, Europe has the European witch hunts. That lasts from the 1400s to almost 1800. So for almost 400 years, Europe was hunting down black men and women and killing them for knowing how to heal. We don't want you. Y'all not gonna be able to heal each other. No, all of that gotta stop. We catch you mixing anything, you die. No potions, no plants, no nothing. Now we're gonna use media to push a new agenda. This form of media was publication in a book. Now you got an imagery that comes from that book. An image is born. And this image is of a God that is white that says, the reason why you are a slave is because you did something wrong to make me mad. And now I'm going to teach you a lesson by allowing these people to rape your babies and feed them to alligators. That's going to be your punishment from God. This is how God punishing you, by allowing you to have your children eaten by alligators and the men and women and children raped. Does this sound godly to you? But because mass media told us this is the book, so it must be true. Think about that. You were born into the system. You didn't have anything to do with it. You were born into a system that told you through the door, this book is correct. Period. Nothing to talk about. And mass media continues to push that ideology. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit further how this works. That's why I say, y'all missed the visuals, but I'm going to break it down for you. Let's go to right here. Now, y'all see this boys or young men or whatever the case may be. And whatever. But why do we care? Why do we need to know who Superboy like to have sex with? Why does that even matter? Is he going to save the fucking day or not? Can he leap tall buildings in a single bound in them tight-ass pants like his daddy? That's all we really care about. We don't give a shit if he kissed boys in his spare time. We don't. But they want you to care. So it's a thing now. And if you don't care, then they say, oh, you homophobic. No, how about I just don't give a shit who Superman kissed? How about that? But that can't be a possibility. That's not an option. We must be completely engulfed, not only with the superhero, but the sexuality of the superhero. Because by all means, figure out who Superboy is bonking tonight. I'm just not going to make it through. This the type of shit we dealing with. So now, y'all missing it though, because y'all missing all the slides over here. I told y'all, either go to the website or go to YouTube. I'm putting slides up over here. Y'all don't see them. Now, let's say they're not showing Superman. I bet they not. Now, Mama says she got both on. Now, look at your boy Ice Cube. Mr. Today was a good day. Think about this. The movie Boys in the Hood came out. Now, Ricky was a high school football star that was unstoppable, swollen, muscular built, great grades in school, stayed out of trouble, and was on his way to a prominent college getting scouted by everybody. He was the lame. Doughboy was a degenerate dropout that spent all his day smoking blunts and drinking 40s. He was the hero. After this movie was over with, at the end of the movie, we all seen it. Ricky, the good one with the promising career, got shot and killed. Doughboy, the degenerate fuck up that drink 40s and smoke blunts, was the hero of the movie. Black America did not look at this and say, hey, look at the route Doughboy take. And the end of the movie tell us Doughboy ended up getting murdered a couple weeks after he did that for Ricky. A couple weeks later, he got killed. So nobody in Black America looked at it and said, hey, you know what? I want to be like Ricky. We all looked at it, and even though Doughboy had the murder and ended up dead, nobody thought they should be a better version of Ricky, stay on the straight and narrow, and actually finish what Ricky couldn't. Black America did not see it like that. We seen it like, hell yeah, Doughboy got revenge for his brother. That's a real nigga. Yeah. And we all wanted to be like Doughboy. We love the scene when he hopped up on this. We love it. Nobody wanted to be Ricky. That says a lot. Now, they fed us this guy to the point where he got so notorious for holding a beer, he came out with his own beer. Because of him, myself, who's a non-drinker, I became a beer drinker. I started drinking his beer. So at the age of probably 15, maybe 16, Every day, I'm going to the store to get Ice Cube 40 ounce of St. Ives so I could be like cool like Ice Cube, stand on my block, and drink beer. That was my goal at 15, 16 years old. Start my day by going to the store, getting a box of cigars, buying me a sack of reefer, and then getting me a 40 ounce so I could stand outside, smoke my cigar, and drink my 40 like Ice Cube. But if you look down my block, the whole block was doing that. Why? Because that's what the media fed us. The tell, lie, vision. The tell, lie, vision had you engulfed in his whole world. And look what it turned into. Next thing you know, I had crack in my pocket just like him. I had pistols in my pocket just like him. I had friends getting murdered just like him. I was in and out of prison just like the people in the movie. All of that. Because the media told us this is the way young black men live everywhere. It ain't no certain hoods. And then it became synonymous with being the tough guy from the hood. We want to be like Cube. These visuals are very important. But look how they started us. Let's go back to this. This was media. That's media. That's media, y'all. That's media. That right there is media. We're not looking at it like that, but that's media. It's the same thing. Now, the picture is designed to get you to see certain things and think a certain kind of way. And now look, she put flowers and holy relics all around it to add aura to this picture of Jesus, a white savior that is mad at you. This stuff matters. This is who you looked up to as a young man. This guy. What do we do? Where do we go? Hold on, where we go? That guy. At least they didn't get him. My fault, y'all. This guy right here. That's see, but they slid it in slick. Cause you know they always make him play a gang member. They couldn't make Denzel. Denzel wasn't gonna go for no gang member, so they had to give him the script. Oh, you could play the crooked cop. Yeah, the crooked cop. Now it's amazing that they don't like to feed you no crooked cops, but they let Denzel be one. It's amazing. And then he doing drugs, he womanizing, he owe money, got gambling debts. He the worst of the worst. And they finally gave him an Oscar. Imagine that. All the roles he done played. He got an Oscar for Training Day. Not the one where he locked himself in the hospital and saved his son's life. That wasn't it. Not the one where he got the first African-American debate team whooping on the white boys. They ain't get it. But if you could be a womanizing, murdering, gambling, piece of shit police, hey, give him an Oscar for that one. Greatest role ever. They sit him before you like, this is your God? Because they're not going to let you have, Daniel, what's to it, God? They're not going to let you have these victories that you want to have. We on YouTube. Y'all go to YouTube. Misinformation Nation on YouTube. They're not going to let you have these victories you want to have because you're in, this is, oh yeah. You hit him on it. You hit it on the head with that too, Daniel. He was corrupting a young white officer. Oh, the trifecta. That make it even worse. Not only are you filthy, but you corrupting this little good old white boy. Ain't that something? You corrupting this good old white boy. Hey, now look. Because they make these people heroes. They deify them for you. And my son hit me with a drool. We were sitting back. Well, he always hit me with drool. So, and we was watching Ruthless Dictator. And when you think about it, that movie Ruthless Dictator, which was the #1 comedy in America, that was about them murdering Gaddafi. Gaddafi for the Queens. This was a man who had America in the chokehold, and he had a 80% woman army. Okay, talk about it. They want to tell you, they want to show you that horrible ass the Holman tribe. They should have did a movie on Gaddafi tribe. All black, all women army. Got America in the chokehold. Then they killed them and did a comedy about them, making fun of them. Went over there to that man's country, turned the country against him, murdered him, and then made a comedy movie about it. You're dealing with the sickest of the sick. But first, they turn these people into heroes to get you into a hero mind frame that you need to be saved. See, what's the word? It's a superhero. What does a hero do? A hero saves you. So this whole concept of needing to be saved has been perpetuated throughout the media for a couple hundred years, that you need someone to come save you. So what's the indirect implication? We got to think. This stuff is at multiple levels. You got a subconscious level you have to think on. So what's the implication on a subconscious level? If you need a savior, what does that subconsciously say? That means you're not capable of saving yourself. The only people that need a savior are people who are incapable of helping themselves. If you can help yourself, okay, look at the state of the world. Now we out here daily, people like yourself and myself, we got these things that we're doing trying to make it a better world. That means we think we can do something to add to the strife or to add to not having strife in our world. So we try to contribute and make it better. But when you throw in the phrase of superhero or savior, that means whatever the task is, I'm not going to be able to do it alone. I'm going to need some outside help. And not only that, I'm going to need some help from a supernatural nature, which means I can't do it. That's a psychological thing being placed in your head that you don't even understand. So when things get complicated for you, as opposed to figure out what do, you take to prayer. Because prayer says, I'm looking for help outside of me. We're not aware of the fact that I can meditate and demand what I want from the planet. And this is why I'm telling y'all to for everybody on Facebook, I'm home alone like the little white kid, and my phone about to die. I got 3%, so like, I'm sorry, but I gotta cut the phone off. We on Misinformation Nation on YouTube. If you don't want to do that, www.wgdbacademy.com, wgdbacademy.com, or Misinformation Nation on YouTube. But I gotta cut it. My phone finna cut off. Yahoo. Now let's go back. Now this the guy right here. This got people who are advising you because you don't know what's been going on before you. You don't got a clue. You're a child. So you got people put in place, advisors telling you what decisions should be made and how things ought to go and what you're going to do next. Well, that plan encompassed a shitload of slaves that he already had. So he was born. He came into this planet. By the age of 1, he was responsible for thousands of slaves at the age of 1. That little boy, this little boy right here, come on, let's get him now. Right here, the young King James, at the age of 1, is responsible for thousands, if not millions, of slaves. So I say all the time, you got to know something to know something. So when you're reading your King James Bible, understand what you're reading. You're reading about a young man who had multiple illicit affairs with older men. His entire court, that's his advisors and all of that, was all younger men, and it was mandatory that you were heavily made up with long hair. You had to have long hair and being heavily made up, and he had some cute little shoes that they all had to wear. This is who's responsible for your Bible. And not only that, he don't know anything about religion enough to have you got to think about it. He was born into a kingdom. He's not a religious figure. He don't know shit about what God and Jesus. He don't know anything about that. The only thing they did is at that time, almost all kings had their own version of the Bible. Queen Elizabeth, who was the queen before him, she had her own Bible. And right after hers came his. And all they did was they felt like the people in England felt that it was too many inconsistencies in her version, so they recooked it and brought you his version. His version, the recooked version, they said, ha, we got it right this time. Now, he don't know shit about religion. It is like, it's almost to the point where whoever in charge of putting the Bibles out, if them joints don't go out and say King James on them, I'm cutting somebody's head off. I'm the active king of England, and I control America. You're putting out a religious text that's going worldwide, and the king name ain't on it? Who the fuck, you can't do that. So that's why his name was on it, because he was the king. He didn't have a thing to do with it, didn't give a shit about it. Now, I tell you something else, though. Last week I broke down that and a lot of people see y'all be in my inbox and y'all don't do no research. A lot of people got mad at me because I quoted that part about Jesus and John the apostle, that Jesus, the one that Jesus loved, was his nickname. And I said that I read those quotes that those people said that it was a relationship of pederasty, which is in our nowadays language is pedophilia. Now, a lot of people told me that I was perverting the scriptures and got in my inbox. Okay, so what I did was I went and got the quote, and on my damn phone finna die. I might have time to read it to y'all. Let me see if I can read it for the. Oh, I'm finna read this to you for the phone die. Now, this is a direct quote from King James about that Bible verse that I was telling y'all about. Now, here's what King James had to say. This is funny. I love the Earl of Buckingham more than anyone else, James announced to his counselors, and more than you who are here assembled. He compared his love for the Earl to Jesus's affection for the beloved disciple John. Jesus Christ did the same, the king said, and therefore I cannot be blamed. Christ had his John and I have my George. That was a direct quote from King James saying that. What did he say? Let's go back again. What did he say? Jesus Christ did the same. Therefore, I cannot be blamed. And I told y'all, these religious figures is using, and that's why the most pedophilia on this planet is in the Catholic Church and in the Baptist Church. The most pedophilia takes place in this country, not on this planet, I mean, the Catholic Church and the Baptist Church. And why? Because if you really read the scriptures, which most Christians don't, y'all let the pastor read them to you. I read the scriptures. If you really read the scriptures, you're going to get a heavy hint of homophobia and pedophilia. It's everywhere. I'm not hating. I'm not being negative. I'm not no demon. I read the book that y'all say y'all love, but y'all don't read it. And when you read the book, there's pedophilia everywhere, all over the damn place, and Jesus' ass is guilty, according to the book. I ain't giving you my personal opinion. According to the book, Jesus is participating. And as long as they got that shit in those scriptures, how hard is it once you convince a child that everything about Jesus is right? And once you get the child to understand that, then when you get the child alone, you're going to go to those scriptures with the little boy, and you're going to point that shit out. Oh, y'all made it. I see y'all. Hey there, family. The Holy Spirit, man, King James do it. Good vibes. Wash hands. Oh, Lord, stop it. Hey, now, but this the thing, though. So now, you got to think about your children. Get out your personal opinion and think about your children. Your children are at the mercy. Let's go back to this. Hold on. I wish I had, hold on, wait, right here. Let's go back to this little boy right here. To the Queen Elizabeth I. She tried to secretly cut off the head of Queen Elizabeth I. They plotted against her. It didn't work. She got caught. They put her in a dungeon for 21 years. At the end of the 21 years, she cut her head off. So King James came onto the throne. This is how he got the throne. Hold on, my fault. He took the throne by his cousin chopping his mother's head off. That's how he became king. Now, he never met his mother, so didn't really matter to him. Now, when you think about that, this is how you come into the world. Now, who's raising you? Your mother's not around, and it's a highly pedophilic society that's raising you. So he's seeing all kind of men-loving men going up. He's not seeing no man versus woman affection in that aspect. He's seeing more stable boys get ran by generals and shit like that's what he's seeing. What makes you develop if you're seeing masculine and feminine interaction constantly? You can't constantly see the love between men and women and decide I want to love a man. It's your decision who you choose to love, but everything is nature. So naturally, as a little boy, your first attraction, you're going to think a little girl is cute. Or something about her, you're going to want to pull her hair or something like just because it's a little girl. Little boys naturally get weird around little girls. It's just something inherently y'all know. So until you see something that lets you know it's okay to think the other way, it just don't really happen. If it do, you hide it. So to come out open with it at the age of 13, hitting on your uncle, buying him shit and flirting to the point where y'all have a relationship that everybody talk about and it's out in the open, that's a thing. That's a 13-year-old boy in a relationship with a 30-year-old man. And they said, since he knew he had the boy wide open, he used to maneuver him the way he wanted to. He only 13. He made a secret. The Lord of Buckingham, that's the one who he was just talking about he loved the most. They had a secret chamber with their bedrooms connected so they could have easy access to each other. Now, I'm saying all that to say this. This guy don't got no, he could care less about anything in that Bible except for what suits his immediate needs. But mass media tells you that you must have the King James Version, and that's the best version of God's truth. So I would have to ask the question, why would God put his truth in those hands? And then people say, well, God worked through anybody. And then you say, well, is God this all-seeing, all-knowing being? Is God know everything? You say, yes, God knows everything. So then God understood how many people is not going to believe this. So why set this up? You lose a lot of good people who really wanted to find you, but just not understanding what's going on, if this is the case. But I'm not blaming God because I don't think this is God's work, is what I'm trying to say. So don't get to say, oh, you're talking against, I'm not talking against God or your concept of God. I don't think this is the work of God. Not the God of your understanding, put it that way. So now, for us, what we have to do is understand what's being done to us. They take these celebrities and they turn them into heroes, deities. You got these action people that do these movies. Bruce Willis, Vin Diesel, and then these guys are synonymous with like being badasses, and they get the reputation for being this badass. And it's like, we'll look at these guys and really think like, this guy don't fight. In a movie, he can kick your ass, but in real life, this guy is not a fighter. We don't understand. We understand it, but you get caught up in it. When you see Ice Cube playing Doughboy, and it makes you want to go grab a 40 and a crack bag, you're looking at a guy who live in a mansion and wouldn't dare touch crack or go to these neighborhoods he's pretending to be in. And this is the same guy, when he was beefing with NWA, he said they got rich and moved to the suburbs. Where you stay at, Cube? You still stay in the hood? This is a game. It always has been, and until we stop it, it always will be. You are making heroes out of guys like this. Guys like this. We looked at this frail ass white guy and we really thought this guy able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, standing in front of the American flag, and we not understanding that when they talking about the sun, they talking about us. The only being on this planet that can absorb sunlight and turn it into a weapon on their physical person, to turn their body into a weapon that has been where you have absorbed the sunlight and facilitated that through your body and turned it into something else. There's not a white man alive that can do that. For a white man, that capability might as well not even exist unless he can put it on television and make it happen. But think about that. How they sell it to you. How they make us so blind that these things, we really don't even pay attention to them. We don't understand what energy does. So when you're looking at the new superhero movie coming out, and they got it at the movie theater, they got the movie trailer playing, and they got a cast full of all white guys with superhuman abilities, and you wonder why your little black child got confidence problems. Because the only thing great that he or she ever sees that looks like them, play sports or rap. And some of them act. But I'm going to tell you this, coming from where we come from, becoming an actor is so far removed from where we thinking. What we see, it takes a special child to say, hey, I'm going to be an actor and become one. We thinking basketball, football, rap. That's it coming where we from. We want to play basketball, we want to play football, or we want to rap. Of course, there's variables, but they're just variables. The average black kid, even if they won't outrightly admit it, that's what they're working towards. How do you contribute to the ending of your oppression when they say the future is the children and our children want to rap, play basketball, or football? How does that help us on a planetary stage? Let's just say your son or daughter wake up tomorrow and become the best rapper ever. What does that do for Black America? See what I mean? Everything, if you got a roster in Hollywood of a couple hundred actors, and they make all of these movies galore every year. Every year is tons of movies being made all over Hollywood. And if they got black people in them, it's 3 or 4 of them, these 100 movies being made, and you know those 3 or 4 black people. Think about that. Hundreds of actors and actresses in Hollywood. Hundreds of movies getting made every year. And only 3 or 4 of them will have a black person in them, let alone having a leading role. And we're okay with this. And we're okay with the fact that if we see an all black movie, it's gonna be one of them hood movies where Lil Boom Boom them got 18 keys that they just coincidentally got, and now all of a sudden they was broke. Now you got the scene where they just shopping and they balling out with their girl and the life getting great. Then Lil Boom Boom best friend gonna stab him in the back and take the extra bricks. Now it's a shootout, and then Boom Boom get hit. The best friend die. The girl get hit, but he keep the baby right off with a bunch of money. Like, come on, bro. If it's an all black cast, that's what it is, and we're okay with that. That's why we got so excited over this the Woman King. And it ain't, I mean, it's a good movie. But it's not. It's a good movie if you can process it properly. If you're gonna get caught up in the glory, no. You can take pride in watching African women kick butt, but understand that the Dahomey tribe was probably one of the worst tribes in African history. Brother Jay, what you say? What's up, God? Now, I'm gonna check that. I'm curious about that Black Adam too, just to see what they're gonna do with it. Just because it's Dwayne Johnson, I know the level of his expectations in a movie, so the visual is gonna be fire. I can't lie. I'm still a movie junkie now. I just justify because I'm gonna break the movie down and really see what they talking about. And I love decoding movies. This one of my favorite things to do. I watch that movie and pick that bitch to pieces. I love it. So I'm gonna watch that Black Adam. I'm gonna go see that because I know there's gonna be a lot of shit in there. Now, what you got to think about is look how they just lead us where they want us to go. You got this all of these images. Your favorite people hate when I go here, but I gotta open this door. I ain't gonna have long to open it. I'm gonna have to close it, so I might as well do it now. Me and the Queen was talking about the Pac and Biggie thing, and you got to pull it apart and look at it differently. We get emotional, and it's certain people or certain scenarios or whatever the case we may like, and they cloud our judgment. So let's look at this thing objectively for a quick second. I just want to analyze a couple of things. The Queen says something like, and I thought about this 1,000 times, but I never thought about it this way. When the Vibe interview where they say where he say Quincy Jones tried to F him in the butt. As Jay Bird say, pause. Pause. They tried to, Pac say Quincy tried to run up in him. And the Queen was like, you don't come at a straight man like that. I think about it like, what made him, like, Pac is Mr. Gangster Gang. This is according to what we know, this is the most gangster black man in America. What makes you hit on him? Unless you maybe you heard something through the grapevine, you want to test the waters. Like, what makes you shoot at the most gangster dude on the planet? There's something iffy about this story that I'm not so sure about. The other thing I didn't like, I was looking at some old pictures from before the beef started. They was at Puffy birthday party. And the pictures with Pac and Puffy was real zesty. Now, I mean, it's just like, okay, well, I'll put it to you this way. It's like me and Jay good people. I like the brother. there's never going to be a moment from now until the time we die where me and Jay are ever going to take a picture with our faces touching. There's no reason for that. No, I don't care. You can't give me a scenario where me and Jay are going to take any form of a picture with our faces touching. It's not, I mean, maybe we're in a fight and he got me in a chokehold and somebody snatched a picture. That's about as good as it's going to get. Like, so we got this picture at Puffy's birthday party where Pac is standing from behind with his arm around, like, let's say Puffy was sitting down. So Pac walk up behind him while he's sitting down, put the arm around him, and they cheek to cheek, and Pac look up and somebody snatch a picture. Why am I walking up behind another man, cheek to cheek, snapping a picture? I'm not gonna do that. This is not gonna happen. You got another picture, just a random picture, where they standing like right next to each other. They're not doing nothing, they just standing. But I don't know. Now, there's still no offenses been committed at this point, but I'm questioning a few things. So here's what I want to know. Well, first I'll say this. We have bought into this image that the rappers try to give us. So we hear the rappers talk all this tough shit. Like, for instance, Biggie was calling himself Frank White, the king of New York. So that's putting on a facade that, like, he was this enormous drug dealer. Okay, he wasn't. He pushing off a couple of bags on the corner. He was a bag boy on the corner. It is what it is. But he wasn't the king of New York. He wasn't a big-time drug dealer by no way, shape, or form. So my point is this. If this incident happens at the studio where Pac gets shot and he feel like he got set up, I got a couple issues right here at this moment. First issue I have is, why are you mad at Biggie? Let's keep in mind, Biggie is the powerless guy that hangs out with you. According to you, he was broke as fuck and you let him sleep on the couch. Your words, not ours. So why are you mad at the broke Negro that used to sleep on the couch when you get shot? Now, on the other hand, Puffy is the son of a drug lord, ex-drug lord. He's not around anymore. But he comes from a drug lord background. He's been in the music industry for eons. At this point, he's the one with the money, the power, and connections. He owns everything. You two guys are under him. So if you got shot, isn't it more likely that Puffy set you up, not Biggie? What the fuck does Biggie have to do with anything? He's the broke guy that sleeps on the couch, remember? So who you should be mad at is Puffy. All your anger should be going towards Puffy, but it's not. It's towards Biggie. Why is he so mad at Biggie? Calling him a fat fuck, blah, blah, blah. Why? Why is he angry at Biggie? So now what happens? Birthday party, Pac, Puffy, hugged up, all good. That scenario turns into a scenario where Pac's no longer in the picture, but now Puffy and Biggie are in all the pictures together, and Pac's not in those pictures. And he got shot. But he's mad at the powerless fat guy who used to sleep on the couch. Why he not mad at Puffy? Or did Biggie take Puffy from Pac? No, you tripping, man. Pac wasn't on that shit. Yeah. Well, let me tell you. I'll tell you some things I could do and tell you some things I couldn't do. What I could do is have an illustrious career rapping about some gangster stuff. I could do that. Or could have. What I can't do is while I'm having that illustrious career rapping about some gangster stuff, I'm not going to be in a room full of men doing a photo shoot that's going to require me to get butt-ass naked, lay in a bathtub while they put gold chains on me. That's what I'm not going to do. For no reason. And the bathroom is smaller than this area I'm sitting in right here. So how did 3 white guys and a butt-naked black guy maneuver through this little area with the Johnson hanging? And why is the weird fat guy with the ponytail keep messing with the chains in my scrotum area? And why is there not one woman in the fucking building and I gotta be butt naked for the evening? There's a lot of whys in this motherfucking scenario right here. But what I really want to deal with, because remember, we're here to talk about how the media turns regular men into deities. So let's take a travel down the yellow brick road. Before we got the butt naked bathroom incident, we got some shit we got to clear up. So let's go to the interview of the young Pop when he was at the performing arts school, and the Queen reminded me he was there to dance. He wasn't there to play the drums. None of that type shit. He wasn't there for, Othello. He wasn't there for none of that shit. He was there to twirl and do all that type shit. Okay, so Tupac went to the performing arts school to be a dancer. Okay, that does not make you guilty of anything. But you should watch the interview. Because what I need to know is how that kid from that interview. Yeah, I just think that the adults just don't trust the kids enough. See, what I believe is that kid right there. Come with me, Hail Mary. Whoa. What happened? How that guy over there? Oh, wait a minute. Anybody seen Juice? Anybody seen Juice? Okay, what we could do is we got Tupac, his first interview. He got the red white joint on. He on MTV. It's a female a queen interviewing him. The way he's sitting, the way he talking, he just came out the performing arts school. His fame is new. He not used to being around people, and he still got all them damn feminine attributes on him. You could tell while he's sitting there talking. Shortly thereafter, he get the role in Juice. Now, what is Juice? This is how they get him ready to be who he needs to be. So, he's an actor, remember? All right, so now let's act. We need you to play Bishop. Now, Bishop is a don't give a fuck, take no shit, hardcore, fuck the world character. Isn't it amazing how after the movie Juice, Tupac becomes Bishop? Ask the actors, ask the people that are around during that time period, and everybody will tell you Tupac, after that movie, never came out of character because that movie showed him what the world really wanted. Now, I'm an actor. I can act. So now, after that, you get full-blown Pac. No more Brenda's Got a Baby and all that. We done with that. Now it's when we ride on our enemies. Now we singing clap. I'm up before the sunrise, first to hit the block. Look bad, motherfucker, with a pocket full of rocks. Why do you have a pocket full of rocks? See, it's some middle steps in here that we missed. And somebody ain't telling us something. There's something missing. But when they make you a deity, and they start comparing when Christmas had his when they tell America you're the greatest, you're the best. No, oh yeah, I forgot about his white foster parents. Oh my God. York had him. I give up. If York had him, it's over. If he was at Dr. York House, conversation over. Hey, Pac never sold one rock unless it was one he painted in art school. I might rock with that, Queen. I think I might go with that. Because you got to think about it like this. They're going to have to pick a story. They're going to have to pick a story. Because, see, on one hand, you telling me he was raised by the Panthers, a young revolutionary. Now, you raised by the Panthers, a young revolutionary. How you end up with these crack bags? Huh? How you end up with these crack bags? Because you was in performing art school during your teenage years. 2 years after you got out performing art school, you was famous. 2 years after performing art school, you was famous. So when did you sell crack, Tupac? See, these are the games we play. And if he did sell it, he didn't sell enough to be rapping about. He didn't make no good money off of it. You didn't flip no bricks. You didn't get your family out the ghetto. You wasn't running no neighborhoods. So why you rapping like this? You said you was raised by the Black Panthers. Yet you end up selling crack and glorifying it? How? How did these two things happen? How? You got a 2-year window after art school. Now, coming out of art school, okay, if anybody's seen it, okay, that video, he was 17 in art school. 17 years old. Either 16 or 17, I forgot which one. Either way it go, okay. The kid you seen in that video definitely wasn't selling crack before art school. Nowhere in hell. He was too feminine. He wouldn't have made it in no hood in America. Now, okay, so now that kid you see, for one, he definitely had a coke problem. Guaranteed. In that performing art school, I know the signs. He definitely had a coke problem. You could see it in his eyes. You could see his mascara running, and you could see him steady fixing his nose. So now, that's one thing. Now, he is extremely feminine coming out of art school. You got a 2-year window. How the fuck you end up? Okay, now, that's 2 years before he get famous. You still went to Digital Underground for some time. So when was this time period where you thugged out and turned into a crack dealer for that one? You had 12 months at best, according to the chronology of what we know to be true for sure. After that performing art school, you had a maximum of about 12 months to get unsensitive, find a neighborhood that would accept you, find a local dealer, get you some crack, and sell enough to rap about. And then get out, find Digital Underground and make it famous. How the fuck? Come on, man. He looked like a kid who hung with the rear crowd. Yeah, them kids, he hanging with little white kids that snort coke and roll joints. That's who the hell he was hanging with. It ain't no crack nowhere near that crowd. Now, if he had got famous off talking about he was selling coke, he might have had me. If he had said anything about coke to high school kids, I'm going with it. Either way it go. That guy we seen never sold a crack bag. So why you rap about it? Where that character come from? We made him a deity. Now, I told y'all I had 2 problems. I'm going to tell you the second one and get the hell up out of here. Here's my second problem. If I get into a fight in any hood in America and I get my ass whooped or I get shot, I cannot go and publicly make a song saying, yeah, them niggas from so-and-so hood shot me, and I know where they at, and I know who did it. When 50 Cent made certain statements in a song, he had a song out where he was labeling everything that go on in his hood. And he labeled the local drug dealers, and that song launched the FBI investigation because a dealer who they thought was out the loop and dead and buried, they heard his name surface, and it made the feds rekindle his case, open it back up, and end up giving that man 115 years. And when 50 Cent got interviewed about it, he said he don't care about dude, he weak. So I said that to say this. Jay Burrow, you're right. That's called snitching. But the number one diss song in rap history is called Hit 'Em Up. And in that song, Tupac is openly snitching on the people who he thinks tried to kill them. And we think it's something fancy because it's Pac. Well, let's keep in mind, not one body dropped off of that music. He didn't shoot no fucking body. He didn't get no revenge. He didn't ride on his enemies. He didn't do none of the shit he told y'all to do that made y'all tear up these black American streets murdering each other to try to get your enemies the way Pac told you to. But Pac never rode out on his enemies, not one time. All he did was made songs about it. And he died before his fucking enemy. So he didn't do shit but talk shit and then get killed by the people he was threatening. So he snitched and then he got murked for snitching. And we say that's the greatest rapper ever. Because we made him into a god. And once you make someone or something into a god, you put it into this untouchable space that cannot be questioned. And that's when you become in error. Because everything must be questioned. Even question the shit I'm saying right now. How about that? Everything must be questioned. Trust you, and it will allow you. I'm not going to say don't trust nobody. That's a lonely existence. Trust yourself the most. And that trust of self will allow you to properly trust others. Emotional rants with zero intent to follow up. I'm going to say that's a harsh statement, Queen, but it is extremely accurate. You, first of all, you cannot, coming from the culture that we are used to, you cannot verbally start talking about street shit. So if somebody's shooting at you, what we understand is rectify the situation. You can't make it public. Now, I'm not condoning any black on black violence. I'm not condoning that. What I'm saying is this. He tricked us into a gangster existence that he never lived. All of that, every time he rode on somebody, it was verbally. Every time we rode on somebody, real black bodies dropped. You think he didn't know that? He had gang members calling him from all over the country, asking him for advice. Why? He ain't really doing no gangster shit. Y'all are. The tell lie vision is programming you. And like the Queen said, they got channel in there. The channel is to go in and get information. So they're channeling for you. See, when you channel, your mind is wide open to the possibilities. They're telling you, channel here, channel here, channel here, channel there. Different thing. Understand, they have given you your gods. You have agreed to it unconsciously. And these gods don't serve you. They don't help you or benefit you, advance you, enlighten you, encourage you, inspire you. They don't do anything other than teach you to be a servant. Anything that tells you the only hope you have is something outside of yourself is not the thing for you. Knowledge is the only real power. Information is the only real currency. I love y'all, and I'm gone. Almost.